Every morning in Santa Barbara begins with the fragrance of jacaranda blossoms. On this May morning, the refreshing breeze was dancing with purple petals in the air. In the peaceful residential area of Hope Ranch, Jennifer Wilson was busy preparing breakfast in her elegant Spanish colonial revival mansion. She spooned organic granola into a bowl and garnished it with fresh blueberries. Her 8-year-old daughter Lily sat at the kitchen island, reviewing her homework just like any other morning. Jenny, wearing a cashmere cardigan from Theory, watched over her daughter while switching on the coffee maker. "Lily, how was your math test yesterday?" "I got a perfect score, Mom." The teacher praised me in front of the whole class. Jenny gently stroked her daughter's head. It had been 3 years since she lost her husband. 3 years since their last service at Trinity Episcopal Church. Balancing her real estate investment company with raising a child wasn't easy, but Lily's smile was her greatest source of strength. They never missed Sunday church and actively participated in charity work. Those around her praised her as an exceptional mother. After completing her morning routine and seeing Lily off, Jenny arranged the monthly wire transfer to her parents. Since her father Robert's company went bankrupt, she had become the guarantor for her parents' mortgage, essentially bearing the financial burden. It was a 1970s ranch-style house, the home where her parents had lived for over 30 years. Jenny faithfully continued her monthly support to ensure they wouldn't lose it. She was also paying the tuition for her niece Emily at Laguna Blanca School, a private institution. Her sister Patty's construction worker husband's salary couldn't possibly cover such expenses. Still, Patty kept making various demands for the child's future. On the surface, they appeared to be a harmonious family. Sunday dinners were filled with lively conversation around their mother's home cooking. However, Jenny had been feeling increasingly uneasy lately. Her sister Patty's Facebook was constantly updated with photos of luxury brand bags and overseas trips. It was an extravagant lifestyle that couldn't possibly be supported by her part-time nail salon income. Despite receiving help from both parents and sister, discontent always lingered in Patty's eyes. Margaret, their mother, spoiled her younger daughter Patty excessively. Dressed in expensive dresses from Chico's, she enjoyed lunches with neighborhood friends and always took her youngest's side. "Because I feel sorry for her," she would say, agreeing to unreasonable demands for Emily's extracurricular activities and tuition. Ultimately, Jenny would end up covering these expenses. Their father Robert was obsessed with keeping up appearances. Even after his company's bankruptcy, he refused to give up his luxury car. He maintained his golf club membership and continued to speak loudly at HOA meetings, trying to demonstrate his former influence. Words of gratitude to Jenny, who supported the family's finances, had become taken for granted. A new ripple was about to spread through this dysfunctional family relationship. "Jenny, why don't we all go for a family picnic at Ealing's Park this weekend? It's right before Mother's Day after all." It was a sudden invitation from her mother. Despite feeling uneasy about the words "strengthen family bonds," Jenny agreed when she saw how excited Lily was. "Wow! Can we buy a new picnic basket? I saw such a cute one at J.Crew." Jenny found herself sharing her daughter's innocent excitement. Watching Lily choose a new picnic basket and try on her favorite clothes brought a smile to her face. The following Saturday, Robert's brand new BMW glided into the Ealings Park parking lot. Margaret in the passenger seat wore a pale blue dress from Talbot's, with makeup more carefully applied than usual. In the back seat, Emily was absorbed in her new iPad. "Lily, hurry up and get in." There was a hint of urgency in Margaret's voice. Lily carefully climbed into the back seat, clutching her new hat. Her pink sundress from J. Crew Cuts was a favorite she had chosen with her mother Jenny. She flashed a bright smile at her grandmother in the front seat. "Grandma, look at this picnic basket. Mom bought it for me." Margaret glanced at her granddaughter in the mirror, forcing a smile. "Oh, how lovely." Patty followed in her own car. Ever image-conscious, she refused to give up her luxury SUV despite struggling with the mortgage on her home in a new development. The early summer sunlight gently embraced the streets of Santa Barbara. It was perfect picnic weather. However, beneath this perfect sunlight, a cruel plan was about to unfold. Upon arriving at the park, Emily immediately distanced herself from Lily. Away from the adults' eyes, she shot mean glances at her cousin. It was nothing new. Lily had learned to endure it silently. "Let's take a commemorative photo," Margaret called out, raising her smartphone with an exaggeratedly cheerful voice. "Emily, stand next to Lily. Let's take a nice picture together." Emily briefly showed her displeasure before switching to an agreeable smile. In front of the camera, she could play the perfect young lady. However, her arm was digging painfully into Lily's waist. Fighting back the pain, Lily managed to smile too. Homemade sandwiches were laid out, and fruit salad in mason jars was distributed. The adults engaged in trivial conversation, but there was a strange tension in the air. Particularly between Patty and Margaret, their exchanged glances seemed to hide some dark scheme. Around 2 p.m., Lily went to the restroom alone. "Be careful," Margaret's voice followed her. There was something unnatural about its tone. When Lily returned from the restroom, she found an empty lawn where their picnic had been. Everything was gone, their belongings, the new picnic basket, everything. It was as if the pleasant picnic from moments ago had been just an illusion. "Grandma? Grandpa?" No response. "Emily?" Only silence enveloped her. Though panicked, Lily desperately searched the area. She borrowed a phone from a stranger family and dialed her mother's number with trembling fingers. Her heart pounded violently as the phone rang. "Mom, help. They left me behind and took my cousin away." Her voice cracked. The tears wouldn't stop. "What? Where are you right now?" Jenny's voice was filled with intense distress. After hanging up with her daughter, Jenny immediately called her parents. "Mom, where's Lily?" After a moment of silence following her stern tone. "Oh, I'm sorry. We forgot about her." Margaret's voice was unnaturally bright. In the background, Patty's laughter could be heard. "She must be so surprised." In that moment, something froze in Jenny's heart. This wasn't mere carelessness. It was a calculated, cruel act. Lily sat on a park bench, hugging her knees and trembling. The early summer sun still shone brightly, but her world had been plunged into darkness. The kind family who had lent her their phone watched worriedly from a distance. "It's okay. Your mom will be here soon." A stranger woman spoke kindly to her. Lily gave a small nod in response. When Jenny's crimson Porsche Cayenne pulled into the Ealings Park parking lot, the sun was still high in the sky. Her hands were still shaking on the steering wheel. "Lily." The moment she saw her mother, Lily ran to her. Jenny held her daughter tightly, feeling the slight tremor still running through her small body. The stranger family approached with concern. "Poor thing, she's been trembling the whole time." "Thank you." "Really?" Jenny's voice caught in her throat. At the park management office, they reviewed the security camera footage. The images were cruelly clear, her parents and Patty's family hastily packing up their things, getting into their cars while laughing. It had all been planned. "This is clearly child abuse," the park ranger stated with a stern expression. "Should we contact the police?" Jenny thought for a moment, then shook her head. "No, I'll handle this as a family matter." Back home, Lily took out her iPad. "Mom, look." It had recorded the conversation just before she was abandoned. "Let's quickly pack up while she's in the restroom." "Yes, let's all leave together. We're leaving her behind." "How fun." It was Patty's voice. A week later, relatives gathered at Jenny's mansion in Hope Ranch. It was 3 p.m. on a Sunday, normally when she would be participating in church charity events. A heavy atmosphere hung in the reception room. Robert, Margaret, Patty's family, aunt and uncle, cousins. All eyes were fixed on the iPad placed in the center of the table. Please watch the following footage and audio. Jenny's voice maintained its composure. The security camera footage played, followed by the audio Lily had recorded, and then footage of her daughter's distressed state after the incident. The evidence was perfect. "I don't want to hear any excuses." Jenny's voice echoed quietly. She fixed her gaze on her parents and Patty. "I can't believe you're making such a big deal." Margaret began. "It was just a prank. Children often." "A prank?" Jenny's voice grew colder. "Abandoning an 8-year-old child in an unfamiliar place. This is what you call a prank?" "Jenny, calm down." Robert raised his voice. "We're family, if we just talk." Jenny gave a bitter laugh. "How dare you say such things after putting my daughter in danger?" "But that girl." Patty's voice trembled. "Always perfect, getting top grades, loved by everyone. Look at Emily. At the same school, always being compared. So you abandoned an 8-year-old child." "Now, everyone calm down." Margaret smiled diplomatically. "This too is a form of family love." "Love?" Jenny's voice was ice cold. Then let me show you my form of love. She took out her smartphone and opened Facebook. I'm about to post about this incident. In the church community group, the PTA group, and the HOA group. Stop! Margaret screamed. Our reputation. Reputation is important. Then why did you do something like abandoning an 8-year-old child? Robert stood up. Jenny, we intend to apologize. Any further? It's too late. The post button was pressed. This is just the first consequence. The aunt and uncle sighed deeply. The cousins turned away. Everyone sensed the magnitude of the storm that was about to break. Leave. Jenny's voice was devoid of emotion. As of today, I'm cutting ties with all of you. Margaret broke down crying. Are you trying to destroy us? You chose this outcome yourselves. No one could argue with those words. After her parents and Patty's family left, the remaining relatives gathered around Jenny. We're on your side. A cousin spoke gently. We'll help with whatever you need. Church bells rang. Social media was already in an uproar. Justice and betrayal. Love and hate. Truth and lies. Everything had begun to swirl. In Santa Barbara's upscale business district, on the 15th floor of a modern building housing top-tier companies, a heavy atmosphere hung in the conference room of a prestigious law firm. Across from Jenny sat her father Robert, mother Margaret, and Patty. Patty's husband couldn't take time off work and was absent. We've gathered today for an important notification. Jenny's legal counsel began in a solemn voice. First, regarding the withdrawal of Mr. Robert Wilson's mortgage guarantee. Documents were distributed. As of today, Ms. Jenny Wilson will terminate her role as guarantor. Wait. Margaret's voice cracked. Then we. Next, regarding Emily Wilson's tuition support at Laguna Blanca School. The lawyer continued, ignoring Margaret's voice. All support will cease after this semester. How could you be so cruel? Patty shouted. Are you trying to ruin Emily's future? Jenny silently took out the final document. Additionally, all monthly living support will end as of today. Silence fell over the conference room. Robert's voice trembled. Why do you need to go this far? A cold light entered Jenny's eyes. Why did you need to go that far? Outside the window, jacaranda flowers swayed in the wind. The purple blossoms fell silently, as if watching over the family's collapse. Would you tell me the truth? Jenny's voice was quiet but filled with determination. Why such a cruel act? Patty suddenly broke down crying. I suggested it. The truth she revealed was uglier than imagined. Patty had always envied her sister's success. Jenny, successful in real estate investment, living in a luxury home, acting as the perfect mother. Meanwhile, she had a part-time job, a low-income husband, and a mortgage in a new development. The gap seemed to grow wider day by day. What she couldn't stand most was Lily's existence. That girl, always getting perfect scores. Patty's voice twisted. 10 or 20 points higher than Emily, teachers always praising her. Their parents' complicity came from foolish reasons. Margaret's excessive love for her youngest daughter Patty led her to accept these twisted demands. Robert, having lost his autonomy through economic dependence, simply went along with it. "Is this how you repay me?" No one could answer Jenny's question. Right after leaving the conference room, Patty's smartphone rang. It was an email from Laguna Blanca School. A notice of expulsion due to unpaid tuition. Simultaneously, she received a payment delay warning from her credit card company. That evening, disaster struck at Robert and Margaret's home as well. The loan payment. Robert muttered, holding a collection notice from the bank. "What should we do?" "I'll ask my friends." Margaret desperately operated her phone. However, friends who had seen her social media posts were blocking her one after another. Days later, the situation worsened. Arguments with Patty's husband became constant. "She couldn't counter his words, because of your selfish actions." Emily, forced to transfer schools, struggled to adapt to her new environment and began avoiding school. Residents of the luxury housing development began openly avoiding Robert and Margaret. They weren't invited to HOA meetings, and received cold stares at church. At Trinity Episcopal Church, Margaret was seen leaving in tears after being removed from the charity committee. A month later, the final collapse arrived. Patty's husband decided on divorce, leaving with the words, "I can't stay with a mother who would endanger children." Robert and Margaret, unable to pay their mortgage, faced eviction from their luxury housing development. "I never thought it would come to this." From Jenny's office window, the sunset was visible. She quietly sipped her wine as Lily nestled close to her. "Mom, why don't you forgive Grandma and the others?" Jenny embraced her daughter. "I'm sorry. But this punishment was necessary. To protect you. And to teach them what true love means." The setting sun painted the purple jacaranda flowers red as it sank over the city. In that light, mother and daughter held each other tightly. This wasn't an ending, but a new beginning. Their journey to discover the true meaning of family was just beginning. One Sunday, a year later, Jenny and Lily stood in Trinity Episcopal Church as morning light filtered through the stained glass windows. They had just finished their weekly counseling session and were about to attend the regular service. "Dr. Thompson, thank you for another wonderful session today." Jenny smiled at the psychologist. "I'm so grateful to see Lily's smile returning." Indeed, Lily's expression had become brighter than before. She had overcome her trauma, made new friends, and her grades had improved even further. The bond between mother and daughter had grown stronger through their ordeal. "Mom, look." Lily pointed to new jacaranda buds sprouting. "The purple flowers will bloom again." "Yes." Jenny gently stroked her daughter's head. "We're entering a new season too." Meanwhile, the perpetrators met miserable ends. Robert and Margaret were forced to give up their mansion in Hope Ranch, saying goodbye to the home of 35 years. When they left the luxury housing development, not one of their former friends came to bid them farewell. Now they live modestly in a city apartment. Their savings depleted, the weight of retirement uncertainty bears down on them daily. Social media pretenses, luxury club memberships, all are things of the past. The complete exclusion from their community was particularly painful. We can no longer have people like you on the charity committee. The cold words at church. We must ask you to refrain from attending HOA meetings. The cruel notification from old friends. Patty's situation was even more dire. Her divorce was finalized, and her ex-husband remarried. With restricted parental rights, she could only see Emily once a month. Life in public housing was a stark change. Her part-time salary barely covered expenses, and she could no longer rely on her parents. Emily continued to skip school, attending counseling sessions regularly. Gone were the days of luxury brands, replaced by second-hand clothes. Her social media accounts were deleted. At the family council, her uncle delivered a harsh verdict. You are no longer welcome at any family events. No Christmas, no Thanksgiving, no birthdays. You are no longer family. True to these words, they were completely cut off from the family. Their faces were even removed from family photographs. However, through this ordeal, Jenny and Lily had made new discoveries. Real family isn't just about blood ties, is it? They found joy in being warmly welcomed and supported by their new church community. Using money to control others isn't love, after all. Jenny reflected on the past when she had used financial support as a weapon to maintain twisted power relationships. One day, Lily's teacher remarked, "Your mother is a very courageous person. She risked everything to protect her child." Jenny nodded deeply at these words. Sometimes, cutting family ties is necessary to protect those you love, she explained to her daughter. But in return, the bonds with those who truly matter grow stronger. At dusk, from the heights of Hope Ranch, they looked down at the Santa Barbara cityscape. The purple jacaranda flowers gleamed in the sunset. "Hey, Mom." Lily looked up at the sky. "We'll always be together, right?" "Yes, of course." Jenny smiled. "Protecting you is my greatest happiness." The church bells rang on the breeze. Their clear, strong sound spread across the entire city, as if announcing the beginning of a new chapter. This story is a record of courage, of a mother and daughter who freed themselves from the bonds of blood relations to choose ties based on true love. And it asks us, what is real family? What is true love? What does it mean to protect a child? The answers continue to dance in the Santa Barbara sky, carried by purple petals.